This is Advent Week 2, and the theme is faith. So before I begin the yoga practice, I'm going to introduce you to this week's spiritual practices, the option of a breath prayer or a very simple chant. So first, the breath prayer. We use the Hebrew word Yahweh. Some people suggest that this is the way we are born breathing. So on the inhale, you would say the first syllable Yah, and on the exhale, the way. So you can do this just silently in your mind as you practice ocean breath or ujjayi breathing, or you could gently speak it like this, perhaps closing your eyes. And like we always do in yoga, beginning to pay attention to your breath. Inhaling Yah, exhaling way. Yah, way. And gently float your eyes open. So we use that as a way to focus ourselves, slow down. These gentle chants will actually also activate the parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest side of our central nervous system. So the other is very simple as well. It's using the word from the New Testament, Maranatha, which can have two different meanings. It can mean Lord has come or come Lord. As I explained in the notes this week, a great tension between the already and the not yet. So you would say inhaling on the first three syllables and exhaling on the last. So it might sound like this. Maranatha, Maranatha, Maranatha. And silently, if you were doing it just in your mind, it would be like that breath practice of sipping air in. So you'd sip air in 3 times and then exhale out completely. So try that a couple of times, saying the word in your mind. Or out loud, Maranatha, 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 Maranatha. So there'll be a couple of opportunities in our yoga practice to try and incorporate those things if you like. So here we go. Closing your eyes once again. Focusing on your breath. Maybe using one of those practices already. And we'll start to warm the spine. So I'm going to actually turn sideways so you can see what my spine is doing. We're just going to do like a little barrel roll with the ribs. So I'm sitting up on a blanket here, might be helpful. Also, for this practice, you're going to want to have a yoga strap or an old necktie because we're going to be doing some standing forward fold balancing things and some seated forward folds. And if your hamstrings are tight, a strap might be helpful. So if you need to grab a tie, stop the video and come on back. So you could even do this with your eyes closed. We're just going to gently roll the spine in a circle, like your ribs are in a barrel and you're trying to touch every little edge. So exhaling on the back, the gentle fold, and inhaling on the forward arch. And then slowly reversing. One more. And then come on back to neutral. Just do an easy side stretch, so I'll turn myself back around, resting one hand, fingertips on the ground, inhaling the other arm up, and exhaling, gently folding to the side. So maybe giving yourself a little more space, moving that hand away from your body. And inhaling, come on back up. We'll go right to the other side. Good, and inhaling, come on back up. And we'll come to all fours. Move the blanket out of the way. Make sure your fingers are spread wide to protect your wrists, or use some blocks. Inhaling one leg out. Get nice and long, take the opposite arm forward. So starting to activate the core. Come back to your breath. Exhaling, gently release. We'll go right to the other side. And back to all fours. So taking your knees a little bit wider, big toes together, we're going to rock ourselves back to a child's pose. So you might want to just explore how your knees are, and then settle yourself back. Reach your arms way far forward. So this is a really deep forward fold. Know that you can always come back to this pose at any time. So pull your low belly in, and on an inhale, bring yourself right back up to all fours. And we're going to take thread the needle, right? So you're going to inhale one arm up to the sky. And as you exhale, keeping the knees over the hips, dropping onto your ear if you can, your shoulder. So there's always an option to have your head on a yoga block or a blanket if you can't get to the floor. And then maybe you walk your other arm forward and get a nice stretch, different in both shoulders. Well, especially important to take this time. So as you inhale, bring that arm straight back up to the sky. So important to take this time to slow down even as our schedules get busier. Inhaling, take the other arm up, and exhaling, folding under yourself. So finding a place to rest your head, and then walking your other arm forward. Good. Come on back up. We're going to come to one knee for a low lunge. So a little flow here, another opportunity to use your breath. Maybe, right? So keep that front knee right over the ankle. Make sure you're nice and stable, and then take your arms to the sky. So this would be your inhale. And exhaling back to a hamstring stretch. Maybe draw your toes back towards your knee. Do that 2 more times. So letting goes and little devotions. On back up. So we're going to turn around right to the other side, and we're going to do that by coming to a straddle. So we're just going to turn around, right, and go to the other side. Get yourself nice and stable. Come back to your breath. And once again, you're going to come to standing with a straddle. So I'm just going to switch legs so that I'll be facing you, right? Turn all 10 toes toward the long edge of your mat. Just come to a nice deep forward fold straddle stretch. Maybe the hands rest on the blocks. Maybe the knees need to stay a little bent. Maybe you drop your head and go a little bit deeper. So come safely forward. You're going to soften your knees, bring your hands to your thighs. Reach the crown of the head out long. Come on up. From here, turn your heels in, and then your toes and your heels. So a nice, safe way to come back with our feet underneath us without wrenching the low back. We're going to work on Tadasana for a moment. So lift those toes up, spread them really, really wide, lay them down. Feel how you kind of rotate your thigh bones inward, tailbone dropping down so you're nice and firm. We're going to do 3 half sun salutations. Again, another opportunity to come back to your breath and maybe practice the chanting or the breath prayer. Again, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. Inhaling, arms to the sky. Turn your palms facing out, gently fold forward. There's your exhale. Inhaling halfway up, like an upside down L. And exhaling, fold again. Last inhale as you reverse the dive. And exhale. We do that 2 more times. Perhaps taking a moment just to notice where you are in your body and if your mind has begun to quiet. So we're going to do a tree pose, but today just lifting the knees straight up so you look like an upside down H. A couple of breaths here. We'll go deeper next time around. And exhaling, release that leg down. Intentionally shifting your weight to the other side and inhaling the knee up. Again, you might want to have a wall handy as these balances get more challenging. Practice safely and gently release. And so the next one-legged balance will be in the Bikram style. So we're just going to go deeper. It's a standing one-legged forward fold, or I'd love to say this word, Utthita Hasta Panangustasana. It's a big toe hold. So the Bikram version, you might start by doing just what we did. You could rest your hands on your hips, or maybe take them to the sky. All right, so using your focal point, resting your gaze on one thing, you might want to grab hold of the shin and draw the knee closer to the chest. So this might be where you want to stay. If you want to challenge yourself a little more, taking one hand or both hands to the underside of the foot, you could stay here. Or you might want to start to extend the leg. Okay, it's a practice. I'm going to try again, see if I can use my breath. And coming out of it the same way we went in. That attention to breath thing, it really works, right? And shifting your weight into the other leg. Again, deciding where you want to go. Use your breath and your focal point. When you're ready, come on out of it. So pretty challenging. It's good work. Okay. So we're going to take just one more half forward fold, half sun salute, inhaling arms to the sky, exhaling dive. Inhale halfway up, exhaling fold. Inhaling arms to the sky. And exhaling hands to your heart. So one more challenging standing forward fold. You might want to have a block handy. All right. Coming to the back of your mat. We're going to take one big step forward. Interlace your hands above your head. And we're going to come to Warrior 3. It's like making your shape in the body, making your body in the shape of a capital T. So again, you could always use the wall for support. From here, you're going to soften that front knee, reach for the block or the floor, and come to a standing split. Taking your toes to the sky, lengthening your spine, maybe holding on to the ankle with one arm. On an exhale, slowly and gently bring the feet together on the mat. All right, drop your hips, reach the crown of the head long. Come on up to standing safely. Inhale your arms to the sky. Exhale your hands to your heart. I'll get your heart rate up a little bit, so we'll go to the other side. Arms up. So using your belly muscles to support your spine. When you're ready, bending that front knee, reaching for the block or the floor, and coming to standing split. And exhaling, gently release. Hands to the thighs. Come on up to standing. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhaling your hands to your heart. Okay, so when you go to practice on your own, if that big toe hold was challenging, you could use the strap the next time, right? so you can get your hands to your foot. So try that this week in your practice. So we're going to inhale, arms to the sky one more time. Exhaling, fold. Take one leg behind the other. You're going to tuck your knees together like you're holding a handkerchief between your knees. You're just going to sit down on your hip. Or come to the floor safely, however else you might know. Okay, so little core strengthener, a little fun, right? It could be challenging. We're going to do a boat pose, and then we're going to grab hold of our toes again. Again, you could use the tie. So we're lifting our shins, lifting our chest. Maybe come back to that breath prayer. So using a strap, or if you're able to grab your big toes, coming to a balance here. Pull your heels toward your hips again. Maybe we extend one leg out to the side. Keep your chest lifted. Maybe the other leg. Try to not take yourself too seriously here, right? Maybe try both legs. Maybe try bringing them together. And with control, gently release. Nice. Okay. We're going to grab a hold of that strap or tie for deep forward fold. Okay. So sitting up, again, if your hamstrings are tight, maybe sitting up on a block. So you're going to inhale your arms to the sky. And as you exhale, folding forward. So forward folds are great to do, especially before you go to sleep. You want to keep the spine as long as you can. If you were going to do this before you go to sleep, I suggest 20 breaths. And what you want to do is try and remain still. I will stay here for just a few more. A couple more opportunities to use that breath or chant. One more deep inhale and exhale. Slowly release and hold, and come on back up to seated. So we'll settle in for a brief Shavasana. You could always do legs up the wall. So that's another really great forward fold, especially to do before you go to sleep at night. I'm going to do traditional Shavasana myself. Take a blanket under my head. All right, so try not to skip this most important pose. Usually the most challenging for us, right? You want to get your props out of the way. Try not to have anything touching your body. Grab a blanket or an eye mask if it's helpful. Come back to your breath. No more work till you hear my voice again. Bring your attention back to your body slowly and gently, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes. Maybe it would feel good to take a big long morning stretch. And eventually you're going to want to draw your knees into your chest so that you can slowly roll to one side. You're going to rest on your side for a couple more breaths, perhaps inhaling a breath of gratitude, exhaling just a couple more letting goes. And then reach that top leg out, use your top hand, push yourself safely up to seated. So as you go to practice this week, using this series as a jumping off point, right? If some of the standing poses were challenging for you, or your hamstrings are really tight and the deep forward folds are uncomfortable, just remember it's a practice. It can be a humbling practice, but it will definitely help us be better for those around us. All right, so inhaling, take your arms to the sky one last time. Exhaling, bring your hands to your heart center, bow your head to your own heart with a mental pat on the back for showing up. Inhale deeply one more time. And exhale. The spirit in me honors the spirit in you. Namaste.